Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel where we analyze weapons, builds, pull recommendations, gameplay, and overall value of characters such as Yinlin, an electric-based character where a lot of people seem to have some confusion as to whether you use her as a sub-DPS, DPS, or just mainly as support, and we're going to get into all that as we go. So Yinlin can string 4 basic attacks all together. Whenever you tap it 4 times, you'll see all these wonderful animations as she does land, although they are a little slow, so you need to be careful when you are using them. She also can do a heavy attack whenever you hold the skill like so, and then she has a nice mid-air attack where you jump up, do your attack button, and slam down. She throws that leg out in front. Really cool looking skill. And then after you dodge properly and you do a basic attack afterwards, she'll throw out her puppet, throw it up in the air. So Yinlin's resonance skill is actually where she does a lot of damage. She's going to be doing what's called magnetic roar, and this is where her zap string puppet will deal electric damage to the target, and it put Yinlin in what's called a resonance skill execution mode. Whenever she's in this mode, whenever she does a basic attack and a dodge counter, it will trigger electromagnetic blast when hitting a target. And each stage of the basic attack or dodge counter can only trigger one electromagnetic blast up to 4 times. And electronic blast is attack all targets marked with Forte circuit centers mark. And you guys can see what the mark actually looks like here. You just do one of your basic attacks and you'll actually get it. Then we have what's called lightning execution. Use resonance skill after casting resonance skill magnetic roar. So the first time you do your resonance skill, it's called magnetic roar. The second time that you do it, it's going to be called lightning execution to attack the target dealing electric damage. And if the resonance skill lightning execution is not activated in a while, or this character is switched, the skill will be put on cooldown. Something they actually nerfed about Yinlin compared to the beta. In the beta, this wasn't here, but now unfortunately it is on a cooldown. So Yinlin's Forte circuit is actually really cool. It's called the Chameleon Cipher, and this is actually really wild for her as far as extra damage for her and for the other characters, as we'll explain. So when Yinlin Judgment Points is full, and Judgment Points is that conservative energy bar that's right above your health bar. Once that's completely full, her heavy attack is replaced with Chameleon Cipher. So when that thing is full and you hit your basic attack and you hold it down, you'll see her kind of relax, take a step back, and you'll see a bunch of lightning strike down. It's going to consume all the Judgment Point or consume all that conservative energy to attack the target, dealing electro damage. When it hits a target marked with Sinner's Mark, the Sinner's Mark is replaced with what's called Punishment Mark, lasting for 18 seconds. Now, the Sinner's Mark is a normal attack, zap string dance, resonance liberation, thundering wrath, which is her ultimate, and intro skill roaring storm will apply the Sinner's Mark on hit. So whenever you do her ultimate or whenever you're doing her intro skill, she's going to apply this mark automatically. And whenever Sinner's Mark is removed, when Yinlin exists. And the Punishment Mark, as you guys can see here, looks pretty cool, a little purple triangle. When a target marked with Punishment Mark is damaged, Judgment Strike will fall, dealing electro damage to all targets marked with Punishment Mark. This can be triggered up to once per second. So whenever you hold your basic attack down and she takes a step back, she kind of relaxes a little bit, all those lightning strikes come down, you have the Punishment Mark applied, every time that you deal damage to your opponent, it's going to apply lightning, whether it's with her or the other characters on the team. She can consume up to 100 Judgment Points, which again is a full bar of her conservative energy. And when the normal attack zap string dance hits the target, restores Judgment Points, which is actually really good because it's going to allow you to be able to do this thing over and over and over. When casting your resonance skill at the first time, which is called Magnetic Roar, it hits the target, restores Judgment Points. When resonance skill Electromagnetic Blast hits a target, and that's the second time that you hit the skill, restores Judgment Points, which is actually really cool. And then you get into her Resonance Liberation, which is her ultimate. Pretty cool little ultimate that she does. She just looks so lovely. You see the evil looking zap string puppet in the background, really wild. And then her intro skill does do quite a bit of damage, just like 7 hits on the target. And the outro skill is really where it's at for Yinlin, especially for your team, because every time you do her outro skill, all the characters on the team are going to get electro damage amplified by 20%, which is why Cal Charles is actually a really good character to put on team with her, since he is electro damage. He's going to benefit completely from this. And your Resonance Liberation damage is amplified by 25% for 14 seconds or until they are switched off field. So you can really buff up Cal Charles quite a bit with her. But the great thing about this is you can still use her on every single team because she will buff up your Resonance Liberation or your ultimate skill for the next character that you switch on the field, and she's going to be applying all those Judgment Strikes with the other characters while the buffs are applied. So it really makes her a very good support. Now, when it comes to Yinlin's weapons, obviously String Master is going to be the best. This thing just gives her a nice attack buff. It's going to increase your critical rate tremendously, and crits is really where it's all at as far as damage. Not to mention that it's going to give the electric damage amplification bonus. It's going to increase your attack by 10-fold, more or less. It's just going to make her a whole lot stronger. It's really the best in slot for her, no matter what. There's also what's called the Jinzu Keeper weapon, which you can actually get from pools. There's also the Cosmic Ripples weapon, which I believe you can get from the Battle Pass if you are a spender. And this is kind of the thing about her weapons that kind of sucks, is that you're going to have to do pulls more likely to get it, unless you're willing to wait for that union level to get the level 45. As far as your echo builds for Yinlin, there's actually a couple choices you guys can go with, depending on if you're going to use her for a main DPS or a really heavy sub DPS, or if you just want to use her as a good character to have on the team as far as, you know, doing a whole lot of extra damage for your other team members. And as far as being a, you know, DPS or a solid sub DPS, a really good set you could put on her is the Void Thunder set. It's a really wonderful set, and you could, on your first slot, you could either give her Thundering Memphis, who is quite a bit slow, guys. A lot of times you got to cancel skills, so that way you don't take any damage. Or you could use Tempest Memphis, who is a whole lot faster as far as the animations are concerned. However, you will do more damage with Thundering Memphis, but you're going to have to let those animations play out to really get the most benefit from using it. So a lot of people might be using the Tempest Memphis instead because it's just a whole lot faster. The other set you could use on her, and this is the one that's going to be the most recommended, is using the Moonlit Cloud set. This is actually going to be a really good set because, one, it's going to give her that 10% energy regen. This is going to be very, very good for being able to spam her ultimate over and over and over. And it's going to give an increased attack to your next Resonator by 22.5%. And if you're using her and you're using those Judgment Strikes and you're trying to get all that extra damage for your team members, this is actually an insane set. And for your main Echo, your cost 4 Echo, you want to use the Bellborn Echo here. And when it comes to the costs and substats on your Echoes, you really want 4, 3, 3, 1, 1 on these babies. Your first one, you want to make sure that you have critical damage or critical rate. Those are going to be insane stats to have on that first one. And then on the second one, you want to try to have electric damage or energy regen. Energy regen can actually be really good, again, because she does so much damage with that ultimate. And on the third slot, it's going to be the same thing. You just want electric damage or energy regen. It's going to be really good choices. If you get attack like this, it's actually still very, very good. And then you also, on the last two slots, the cost ones, you're going to want attack. You just want to try to look for solid attack on these. Unfortunately for me, I wasn't able to get attack. I don't even have all these costs up to 12, but that's how you really want to build her, whether you're using the Moonlit set or whether you're using the Void Thunder set. And as far as the subsets, what you're really looking for in this order is you're looking for crits, critical rate, critical damage, then you're looking for attack. Energy regen would probably come after that. And if you do get resonance skill damage bonus, that's actually really good because, again, it can bump up that Judgment Strike, adding more damage to your team whenever you're using them after you use her Chameleon Cypher. And then after that would probably be Resonance Liberation, which is going to be your ultimate. And as far as the energy regen in total, what you really want to have, as far as how much, what you really want to have is around 130, maybe to 150%, somewhere in there, to really be able to do her ultimate over and over. But I don't think you really need like as much as I have, but I'm running the Void Thunder set. If you're running the Moonlit set, you're going to get that 10% energy regen. You don't really need this amount because, believe me, if you're using her as a sub DPS or a main DPS, it's really nice to be able to do that ultimate over and over and over, especially in Switch gameplay. So when it comes to your teams, there's actually quite a few options that you could use as far as Yinlin, because she actually can work with any character that you're going to team her up with. Especially if you're using that Moonlit set on her and you're using her as a somewhat sub DPS support character. And this is really going to be one of the best teams that you could use with her and Kacharo, because he's going to benefit so much from it. You can put the Void Thunder set on this guy as far as Echoes. You can have the Moonlit set on Yinlin. And you can also use Ginseng. Now, Ginseng isn't the best choice, but she is a really great character to have because her Ultra skill will actually increase your ultimate damage. And this is actually OP for both Kacharo and really good for Yinlin as well. So you can get a lot of extra damage where if you're using Ginseng and you switch to Kacharo or you switch to Yinlin, you can get a lot of extra damage. And you can also use this team here, which is going to be considered the best as far as using an electric team. Again, you're going to put the Void Thunder probably on Kacharo and the Moonlit set on Yinlin, unless you want Yinlin to be much stronger, just make her main DPS. You could throw on the Void Thunder on her. And Verena is actually really good because she's actually going to give a heal. She's going to increase your outro skill damage. She's going to increase all your nearby team's damage by a massive amount. So she's actually a terrific character to have on the team. And then here, you know, if you don't have Calcharo, maybe you have some other characters, everybody's going to have the Rover. You could have Yinlin on the team with the Moonlit set again. You could have your Rover built up. And then you can actually use Baiji. Now, Baiji is actually really great because she also buffs up all types of damage. So no matter what you're doing, you're going to get that nice little buff. So she's a nice little alternative to maybe some of the more difficult characters to get in the game. So these are some choices that you can use. There are definitely some other teams that you could also use. So again, you can put Yinlin pretty much in any team, and your team's going to benefit from her. Now, whenever you're playing with Yinlin, what you want to do is you want to have her intro ready. You drop her in, you use her ultimate, then you want to use her resonance, then you want to use her basic attack 4 different times, or at least try to do it. You might have to dodge in between or so. Hold your attack button so you get the Chameleon Cipher to come down, use your Echo, and then swap to the next character, which would be maybe Calcharo in the video that you're watching right now, or maybe some other character to get the most benefits from him. You just want to keep doing that cycle over and over and over. And if you're using Calcharo and you have his ultimate ready, it's just going to be that much better, as you guys can see, with the damage that he's able to do after using Yinlin. Now, the rotation that I just showed you is actually for using her as a main DPS. If you're using her as a sub DPS and you're doing a bunch of switch gameplay, this is going to be a different story. Then all you want to do is use your basic attacks, you want to apply the mark, and you want to build up her considerable energy all the way up, or judgment points. And when it's completely full, go ahead and do the Chameleon Cipher, hold your basic attack down, she'll say laid back, all those strikes will come down, and then go ahead and switch to the next character, and then you're going to get all the benefits from the judgment strikes doing all those damage, and the benefit of using her outro skill before bringing in the next character. And that's what you want to do when you're using her as a sub DPS. You really don't want her in her very long, which is something I don't really care for personally, since I mainly use mine as a main DPS. But I feel like a lot of players are probably going to use her as a sub DPS, especially if they're using the Moonlit set on her. So in summary, when it comes to a character like Yinlin, she's going to be an amazing support for pretty much any team out there. But the bad thing about her is that her weapon can be a bit difficult to get if you're not doing any pulls, because you will have to wait for that Union level 45 before you can get the Jinzo Keeper. However, you still will be able to get the thing. You're still going to have a lot of fun with this character. Her skills can be a little bit slow, but you can swap cancel those skills, or third and fourth strike whenever you're using them. You can cancel out them, switch to the next characters. So should you pull for her, I mean, if you're using Calcharo on the team, I think she's pretty much an absolute must. She's going to be a god tier character for him. If you love her animations, you love how she looks, which how could you not like how she looks? Then maybe you'd want to pull for her then, or maybe you're just going to end up wanting to wait for the next character. So I'm going to leave it up to you guys to take this information with what you will, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Y'all take care and have a good one. See you, everybody. Take care.